From the 28-yard line of Auburn. Bama going left to right. Rice gets the snap, knee high. Looks, throws the fade route, near side end zone. Got it! Caught! Touchdown, Alabama! Caught by Ja'Cory Brooks in the end zone.
And Chris Davis takes it in the back of the end zone. He'll run it out to the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes Davis! Oh my God! Davis is going to run it all the way back! Auburn's going to win the football game! Auburn's going to win the football game!
And Alabama has come from nowhere to defeat the Auburn Tigers in multiple overtimes.
Welcome to Tide and Tigers, episode 28. We're creeping up to 30. We are in the summer of 2025, and my gosh, is it blazing outside.
Oh my God. Yesterday was all 90s. And we actually had rainstorms and lightning storms just create because it was so freaking hot out here. It was terrible.
You're back from the beach.
Yes.
Not as tan as I thought you were going to be.
Attacked by a jellyfish. Have lines all on my...
Stop raising up your shorts for this is a PG-13 at times.
I got attacked by a jellyfish. It almost went up my shorts. It was not fun.
But you're back. You're safe. We're here on episode 28. 59 days to college football. I know you're excited. We have now hit the dog days of sports with no Olympics.
There's still baseball.
There's baseball for sure.
Which is the whole point of they play too much baseball.
Yes, but no Olympics, no World Cup this summer. I think one of them resumes next summer. So this is we're gonna have to push through these weeks to get to college football, but we can because there's a lot to talk about. But let's cover the last 2 weeks. Been crazy things going on. 3 or 4 sports have wrapped up. Let's start with the NCAA championship game. Your left-handed swing is not good because you're not left-handed.
Oh, I would have killed it if it was a high pitch. Yeah.
LSU wins the College World Series over Coastal Carolina. 6 in a row now for the SEC. 7 in 8 years. They sweep Coastal. Coastal had not lost since April, and they lose 2 in a row to LSU. What were your initial thoughts? You had pretty much predicted everything. You predicted Coastal, you predicted LSU, you just had Coastal winning it all.
It was more of lucky guesses because I just thought, LSU, they should be the best team coming out of that area. I think they were actually the second best, but won their way. But Coastal beat Auburn. That's the only reason. I was going to go with Auburn the whole way. Coastal beat Auburn, there you go.
I think it was kind of shocking to me because, again, like I said, I wasn't expecting it to be a sweep. I thought maybe a 3-game. And obviously I had Arkansas and Oregon State, but Coastal does have that long winning streak. You don't expect a team that hasn't lost since April to lose 2 games in a row, but LSU does it. There was a little bit of controversy. In the second game, Coastal's coach gets thrown out and their first base coach in the first inning.
All because of he thought it was a strike thrown or something like that?
Yes, but again, this umpire that was there, he's already been banned from the major leagues because how bad he sucks.
Yeah.
So then he goes and they're letting this guy do a national championship game. He's always had a quick trigger, kind of a Napoleon complex is what they would pretty much call it. He tosses the head coach in the first inning of the biggest game of the year. He wouldn't even be able to coach if they made a game 3. That's what's crazy about it.
Is he penalized for next season?
That's what I'm saying. Somebody said he has to sit out 2 straight games, so I think he will have to sit out the first game of the next year. But is that you just can't let that happen. That's like ejecting a best player in a basketball game in the first quarter for just talking a little shit. You know what I'm saying?
Technical.
Yeah, I mean, that just can't happen, right?
Yeah. I mean that's crazy. It was. I saw all the replays and stuff of it, and I was just like, I don't know all the nuances for the rules of if you walk off or walk onto the field and start cussing at the ref, but I've heard way worse. Yeah. And nothing's ever happened. So.
Yeah, and again, I remember last year, Tennessee guy, the player barked back at the umpire and they threw him out. This was a coach. And not just that, this was a head coach. You got to give him a little bit of string, especially in a national championship game. I think it completely affected the game, but still, congratulations to LSU. They win it all.
Do we need to start having coaches hire fans to sit directly behind home plate so they can start yelling at the refs, unlike the coaches, so you can't kick out a coach for somebody in the stands.
I don't know if you that's actually correct because the Yankees manager got ejected for something a fan said, and the umpire actually thought it was the manager.
Okay.
And Aaron Boone was like, "It wasn't me. It was this guy over here." And he ejected, and he couldn't. Usually, when you eject him, you can't go back. You're like, "Okay, unejected." You just make sure.
I guess they don't have audio replay.
But it really, he was like, "It wasn't even me. What are you talking? It was this guy back here." Because he just sounded like Aaron Boone. So
that's funny.
Yeah. So congratulations to LSU.
Go Tigers.
They also did win the shot challenge they have up there. And
What is that?
It's like a $5 shot they do.
Oh yeah.
And like, usually it's like 8,000.
What's his name? Paul Skeens
was up there.
With,
yeah. But it was like, usually it's like 6,000, 6,000, 7,000. LSU was at like 50,000. They made like $200,000 off LSU on shots.
They always are. Every time they do the shot challenge at the SEC one.
Yeah.
LSU surpasses them all. When I used to work at the bars in Auburn, we dreamed of LSU weekends for football because we knew we were going to make more money, win or lose, from the LSU.
Yeah, they still go when they lose, too.
And they spend more. When they lose, it's like they're more generous to the people that beat them. It's so weird, but great.
Yeah. All right, so we have a college baseball national championship. Baseball, LSU. Basketball, Florida. Football, Ohio State. So SEC almost swept it. I think they will sweep it next year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if Texas doesn't, you've got too many underdogs in the SEC.
Yeah, I think maybe Texas in football. I think maybe Auburn in basketball, I think, could finally come and do it. And then baseball, any of these SEC teams can win it.
Auburn in basketball, if we can retain the rest of our players, because we did keep
the draft
keep one of them
tonight.
coming.
They did keep their point guards coming back, so that was a big get. So.
But we got to get some players coming in too from the transfer.
Speaking of basketball, OKC wins the title.
We both predicted
that. Game 7, but Halliburton goes down with the Achilles again.
Hey,
what is going on,
so
man?
not only that is the number 0 a cursed number in basketball because everybody that tore their Achilles this end of season and postseason wore number 0.
I know how you are. You play through injuries. But it seems like if you have a calf strain and you're in basketball, Durant now, Lillard now, Halliburton now, it is like you're going to tear your Achilles. Game 7's a different story.
You tell me this. If you're an athlete and you have a lower body injury and you play a sport that is 80% lower body use, do you think it's going to ever get better? No. You're going to keep playing through it and it's going to keep getting hurt. Unless you stop and take a break, you're not going to heal.
But is it because the game's faster, the athletes are better?
We already discussed that.
You never heard of this, and they wore these crappy Converses. Like, they didn't wear these nice fit shoes that, like, supposedly help you out. Like, it just, like...
So you remember when we were talking about that, the older style of game was get it to the big guy, Shaq, Magic underneath, and they're just going to power through. When they were big, not tall, skinny, and thin, where you're just dependent on the strength.
It was more of a half-court game and not a full-court flying, shooting threes.
So the game was different. That's why you had different types of injuries. Now you've got everybody a 7-foot guy that's trying to do moves that
you're right.
Derrick Rose was doing.
Yeah.
So it's hard for players to, I guess,
play 100 games,
acclimate to that.
100-something. I mean, playoffs. They play 82, and then you add. Possibly, they played 30 more in the playoffs, 100-something games?
It's too much. We've already discussed that, too. It's too much on their bodies, too much for the whole NBA network.
But again, I don't see now. I mean, Game 7, I play Game 7. Even if I'm hurt, I play Game 7. It was a little bit. But man, he set himself back huge now.
Yeah.
But Lillard, him, Tatum, all go down with the same injury. It just.
Oh, what about what's his name? SGA on the Good Morning America.
Yeah.
So faded from the night before, not slept.
Oh, they said Chet could barely talk at the parade, you know. And they've been giving Oklahoma City a bunch of like.
They didn't know how to pop the champagne.
Well, they were talking about like they didn't party enough. They left all the beer. I'm like, these ain't beer drinking people. These kids are 21, 22 years old. They ain't looking to drink beer. Like
they're not even. So if everybody's paid attention to the economy, Gen Z does not go to the bars.
Yeah.
And if they do, they're not heavy drinkers. They're more of like pre-gamers and go home and drink.
Yeah.
They aren't helping the bar economy. So, it makes sense that this team is more of focused on the sport, not on the partying.
Not just that, but at some point, are people just going to realize that I'd go rather buy a 12-pack of White Claw for $18 instead of paying for one White Claw for $9? Like, and again, we talked about before, the internet and all that has changed where people go out, but yeah, people were just like, oh man, they're not going as crazy as these other teams have and stuff like that. I just think there are a lot of, like I said, different type players on that team. But what a series for OKC. They have a ton of draft picks tonight. This is not going to be the end of this group. Yeah. I know they play different and maybe not a fan favorite team, but this is not going to be the end of them. They win in Game 7. Hopefully Halliburton gets healthy, but just right when you saw it, you just knew. You saw the pop in the calf. It was like, man. Yeah. He just ruptured his Achilles, and that's one of the injuries we talked about. And it looked painful. He was screaming, and I mean, it had to be. So
one of our friends had a bet on him having under 2.5 or whatever turnovers. Well, you know, you can't have more after that.
All right, on to hockey. We don't talk about it much, but the Florida Panthers win the Stanley Cup over the Edmonton Oilers. Here's something I want to explain. This is why I wanted to bring this up. Okay. Back-to-back for the Panthers. Okay. Teams in Florida have now won 4 out of the last 6 hockey Stanley Cups, them and the Lightning. Okay. It has been since 1993 since the last time a team from Canada won the Stanley Cup. Okay. In that span, from let's just take the same amount of years, 1960 to 1993, 23 Stanley Cups were won from Canada teams.
Okay.
There's been 0 since 94. That to me, when I saw it, that just blew my mind. That they won 23 in a 30-year span, and they've won 0 in that same amount of span. The American teams have taken over the hockey from Canada, which that's their national sport. It is.
Yeah.
Like
it is.
And then not just that, but now we got Florida, like the Sunshine State. That's who's winning the hockey, Stanley Cups now. It just, I don't think I've ever seen like anything like this in any other sport, where these crazy like baseball towns usually are the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Giants. Those are the big those are the ones winning the championships. The Braves, these crazy, hungry major league towns. The Astros, another one.
Yeah. You
don't see like these the Athletics or the teams like that winning and doing what they're doing. Like imagine the Yankees and Dodgers and them going 20-something years without winning a championship.
Yeah.
Football's maybe similar. The Redskins, the Cowboys, they haven't won in a long time. So maybe the NFL is the closest thing to that. But that just shocked me that no team has won a Stanley Cup from Canada that had a chance to do it this year since
the Gretzky years.
Since 1993. But in that same frame of the years, 30 years before that, they won it pretty much every year.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That is crazy. I mean, I guess it's because it picked up more across America. I mean, we talked about this, how it's crazy that Florida has some of the best hockey, the Panthers, whatever.
Yeah, that's what we're talking.
Yeah. So how Florida is not an ice state or a snow state, has some of the best hockey. I guess the sport in general just picked up.
Yeah.
Maybe we got more Canadians that moved to America and raised families.
I mean, you would think Colorado, who won a Stanley Cup a couple of years ago, those would be the big type. New York, definitely colder. Chicago, the Blackhawks had a run, 10 years ago, but not the Florida and Arizona teams that have seemed to be taking over. But I guess people don't want to be out in the heat this time of year, and it's nice to go into a cold arena. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, right.
But it's crazy. All right, so moving on. Kevin Durant on the move again. Traded to the Rockets for Jalen Green, who's a really good player. Dylan Brooks.
Found out in the middle of a thing at a Comic-Con type thing first.
Fanatics,
yeah. Found out on stage.
Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, and the number 10 pick tonight for a 40-year-old. Like, the Rockets were on the cusp of making a run in the playoffs, and they pretty much burned the franchise.
Yeah.
I mean, they got a top 10 pick, a young Jalen Green, and they go for Kevin Durant. I guess they think, man, we want to win now. We have the pieces. They don't get rid of Jabari Smith from Auburn.
Which was weird.
But that to me is just like, I mean, I'm looking at this Houston Rockets depth chart now, and it just, I don't know. I mean, they did get Van Vliet back, so maybe it's a win now. I mean,
maybe. Let's see.
I mean, Jabari pretty much plays the same position as Kevin Durant. So I don't know. I mean, Jalen Green was their 4th leading scorer, so and Dylan Brooks was their 5th leading scorer. So you got rid of your 4th and 5th leading scorer, and you gave away your top 10 pick for a guy who's almost 40 years old.
I mean, do you just trust that he's going to be your inside game changer, even though he was an outside shooter? I don't understand it.
I mean, he averages 26 a game, which is 6th in the NBA. He's 36 years old. I think maybe they think we're going to get the last couple of years, but it's not like Rodgers going to the Steelers where you're like, hey, I'm getting one more year. I'm not giving up anything. He's a free agent.
Right.
They had to give away a lot to get him.
A lot of young.
Yes.
Players, so
it did make sense to me, but hey, I mean,
they know more than we do apparently. We'll find out.
But on the opposite side, the Celtics, they've now traded away Drew Holiday. They've now traded away Porzingis. what's going on with the Celtics? I mean, are they looking to rebuild now, Chance? I mean, I thought they still had one of the best teams, and when Tatum got hurt, like, to me, I still think they have one of the best teams, but it seems like, Drew Holiday was their stopper. Like, what's going on with that? I mean, do you think the Celtics are going to rebuild, or you think this is just some things they need to move some money around and,
I mean, I never know with the Celtics. Usually they'll make a few trades, like when we got rid of the Big Three and broke it down, and then they bring in a bunch of young guys, and I thought it was doomed, and two of the young guys ended up being the best players in the league for a couple of years. So.
Well, they still got Tatum, they still got Brown, they still got Derek White.
And Tatum and Brown are the ones I'm referring to.
Yeah, but again, like I said, to me, it was like, man, you kind of getting rid of some of the core. Maybe these were the best moves they could have made. So.
Probably, but who knows?
All right. NBA draft is tonight.
Yes, it is.
You're probably doing your research right now. We assume Cooper Flagg is going to go number 1.
Yeah, that's the most common mention.
All right. Johnny Broom, Walter Clayton. Walter Clayton the Gator, Johnny Broom the Auburn Tiger. Will they get drafted tonight? Who would you like to see Johnny Broom go play for?
I'd like to see Broom go to the Celtics. But
I knew you were going to say that.
That ain't going to happen.
Why don't you think that happens? I think Celtics will have he will be on the board when the Celtics pick.
Do you think so?
I know so. They're saying he's a second-round guy, and the Celtics have the 28th pick. So he will come across. Look at the Nets have the 8th pick, the 19th pick, the 26th pick, and the 27th pick. They have 4 first-round picks.
Jeez.
So Mavericks will get Cooper Flagg. I'm hearing Walter Clayton will go to the Heat. I don't know if I like that move because they already got Tyler Hero. So, to me, I'm not sure how it's all going to play out, but I do think the Celtics could have a shot at Broom. I think Clayton will go first round. I don't think Broom will go first round. I think he'll go second round.
You do think Broom will make it to the second?
But I think the Celtics would have a shot at him. But yeah,
okay.
I think that Flagg will go number 1, and the rest it's not. There's a couple kids from Rutgers, Ace Bailey, they'll make some impact. But again, I think 2 years in a row outside of Flagg where the draft hasn't been what it has been. Where I'm just telling you this right now. Maybe I'll be wrong, and we'll go back and look. But I wanted to tell you this right here. It's like the drafts have been the top 6-7 picks last year. They've done nothing. Nothing. I want you to look at this draft right here. Okay, this is the 1996 draft. You ready for this?
Okay.
Allen Iverson, Ray Allen, Kobe Bryant, Peja Stojakovic, Steve Nash. That's 5 Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
And that's not even including some of these other guys that end up being all-stars or whatever the case may be. Like, Jordan's draft, Jordan, Akeem Olajuwon. There is not any transition players these last couple of years except Cooper, I think, this year. Yeah. But kids are staying in college.
Yes.
Because they're making more money.
So I was talking about this with somebody else yesterday. Because I had thought about it, and I was like, God, all this NIL, all the money from sponsorships these kids are making. Travis Hunter's net worth in college was only like 2-point-something million.
Yeah.
And he just signed his $46 million, $30 million bonus contract for the Jags. So NIL is still lucrative, but I think the kids that are staying in college are doing it because they know they can't make as much as they want to in the pros.
We talked about that with Flagg in that episode. We're like, okay, he's gonna make $30 million. He's not gonna make that a dude. So these top guys, yes.
So I've always thought or I guess not always because it's only been 2 years, but I was thinking God, these kids like Arch and Shador and all them, they might be making $10 million, and they aren't going to make that their first year in the pros if they aren't the starter, stuff like that, depending on their contracts. Maybe that's why they're staying. But then I did the math, and it's not the case for those guys. It's still more incentive to go pro and prove yourself there. So I think it's showing that a lot of the kids staying are doing it not just because it's a better business decision, but because they know they're not ready for that next level.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and to me, like I said, look at this next draft, 2000. And again, maybe not every year, but LeBron, Carmelo, Bosh, Wade. You had David West, who was an All-Star. Josh Howard, who was an All-Star. Mo Williams, All-Star second round. Kyle Korver, second round All-Star. There just hasn't been much of that lately. And, I don't know what, transition players and these phenoms that come along every once in a while. But the college game has really grown. The NBA has fallen off. Probably the worst ratings you'll see in the finals history come out after this is all over with.
Hey, and they just announced NCAA March Madness or whatever it is coming back. Yeah. So yeah, college basketball is going to be picking up even more.
But again, I could name 20 college basketball players right now. I couldn't name 5 people in this draft. I mean, I could, but I know you couldn't. Just a casual basketball fan.
Yeah, no, I could. So, you're absolutely right.
But there's other years where I think you could easily name 5 or 6 people that are at least coming out. So we'll watch it tonight. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, crazy couple weeks. We got 3 new champions. And like I said, we'll get our college football preview. We're doing defensive backs this week. This is Chance's topic. You better knock me out of the park on this. And then I'm also going to give my top 5 non-rival, I mean by non-rival, non-top 2 rival games coming up for the SEC this year. And then we'll get Burgin's 5 stars, Titan Tigers.